welcome back to my YouTube channel. I wanted to talk about kind of learning to express your emotions. Just wait for that. I live very close to a train track, so you kind of get that. My brain has taught me to filter it out, but obviously you can hear it. Okay, I'm just waffling now. What was I? Learning how to express your emotions. I literally had to write this down. Yeah, learning how to express your emotions. That's a topic where I found like it can differ for different people, obviously. And you can say, oh, it's like that's not really a problem if you're like emotionally mature, which is kind of find it ironic because you can't really, you can still be emotionally mature but still do not know how to express your emotions. For example, me, sometimes I find it hard to express my emotions. I have gotten better. I was really bad in the past, not anymore. I've worked on myself. And honestly, I've had this as a kid. I feel like all throughout my childhood, I've internalized, or I've learned to internalize my own thoughts, my own emotions, and not being able to like kind of like express them outwards. And I can say I am the product of my environment. Uh, I can't say kind of. I can't say now, looking back at it, hindsight, that I didn't have a lot of emotional support growing up. My emotions weren't really top priority. You want to say top priority? My emotions were kind of took the back burner, or they took the back burner to an image that my family wanted to create, which is pretty fucking crazy. But that it is how it is, and it's kind of like I've learned to kind of like accept it. My childhood, obviously, not accept it as in like, oh, I should have got those things should have happened. I should have, like, you know what I mean, that sort of stuff. Because no child should be able to, like, any abuse, be it verbally, mentally, physically, psychologically. I know those kind of like mash up together a little bit, but no child should go through any of those. But it's how the world is. It's how the world works, and it's pretty sad. You know that saying, "It's a cold world out here." It's pretty true. Or that new saying, "Gabbles." Game ain't about sympathy. Wait, game. You don't know. You don't know. I forgot. But put in the comments if you know it, because it's like a pretty recent thing. Gabbles, which is true. Game ain't based on sympathy. Um, but I feel like it should be based on sympathy. It should be. We should be able to have a space where we can kind of be there, talk with someone, and it's hard nowadays as well. Very hard. Like having very close friends to talk to about your emotions, especially about your past, like your past traumas and like very traumatic things that have happened to you, and very personal things that have happened to you. Because I feel like a lot of people don't really care. You gotta really, in hindsight, talk to the right people, because a lot of people can use it against you, and that has happened, and it will always happen. So, kind of choose your friends wisely, and if you have parents that are very supportive, lean onto them. You're so lucky, because not a lot of people do have that in their lives, and I'm one of them. And and I've had to navigate through that for like years, at least like 20 years of living, but I've had to navigate that. And I've had some fucked up shit happen to me, especially as a kid. Maybe you hear it, maybe you won't, but I'm not gonna talk about that right now. Learning to express yourself. So I kind of like internalize a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. I mean, all the stuff. I'm that type of person that is very selective with what they say, or would want to be selective with what they say. Um, I don't always say the things that first come up into my mind, which I should, but it's very, very hard, especially when you have anxiety, and it's like, oh, you have anxiety? Yes, I have anxiety. Oh my god. And I mask it pretty well. Sometimes you can see it. Not sometimes. A lot of the times you can see it. It's just that half the time, a lot of the people don't really know the real me. You know what I mean? They just know a kind of mask I portray. The happy-go-lucky, loud, very out there person when that's not really the true me. I'm very soft-spoken, quiet. Um, I like read the rooms a lot because that's how I grew up. There it goes again. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Hopefully you can't. Yeah, lost my train of thought. Okay, so basically, what I'm trying to say is, yeah, I've kind of had this all throughout my childhood, um, and it's a habit that has kind of been picked up because I've never got my emotional needs met, or I learned to read the room in a very young age when I was not really supposed to, or like be on edge, be in that fight or flight, you would say. And fight or flight is a huge indication that you have emotional irregulation. Um, it means that your body is reacting one way and your thoughts are reacting a different way, and it's kind of like conflicting. So you have, you know what I mean, anxiety attacks, you have shocks, you have get a fear, something that kind of like correlates to your state of mind. So if you have an inferiority complex, that will double. I used to I used to get shit about my looks all the time, especially my lips. I grew up very insecure about my lips, like very insecure. I've had several thoughts of being like, oh, I can't wait to grow up so I can just go and like get my lips like a lip reduction. Like literally, I've thought about that more than once, and I've grown to really like my lips a lot. That character, and I wouldn't really see me being any different. It looks so weird, and I feel like that is a sign of also emotional maturity in a sense, because you're having a belief, a reinforcement, and that kind of like saturates. Think of like emotional. Okay, think of like emotional security as inflatable. An inflatable toy. You can think of any toy you want. An inflatable. I'll say like inflatable bed. You gotta pump it with self-love, self-regulation, boundaries, etc., for that emotional conflict that you have to go away. It negates everything. The more you self-love yourself, the more those emotions of anxiety, those things, they reduce. They don't go away, but they reduce. Right now I'm at like a limbo point. I feel like I'm at a limbo point where I do feel good about myself. I like my looks. I like what I'm doing, um, all the things I'm doing, which are great. I'm working towards my future, the goals I set, the lifestyle I want to portray, I want to live. And that comes with a sense of relief because before this, I felt very lost emotionally, um, and figuratively. I felt very lost. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I was just picking up things left and right, hobbies, reading a lot of books, obviously, which are good. I'm not knocking it, but that irregularity kind of portrays your emotions at the time. And my emotions were everywhere. I would be very happy one day, can be very sad that evening, can wake up having the most shittish day, or have a week where I just feel very depressed. And that like irregular, ir- that that irregular moments does hurt. It bleeds into reality, your real life, and I knew I was kind of like getting back into that rut because I did have um, literally a month. My manager at work even described it to me. It's like, are you okay? Like the last 4 months, you've been kind of just in and out, not really interacting, this, that. You feel real, very off, very thingy, and it's kind of like, in hindsight, I didn't really like think of it like that. I thought, yeah, I kind of like acknowledged for like a week or two. I did feel like that, but I didn't know it was going on for that long. And yeah, after that, I'm kind of like, okay, I need to be a little bit more aware because I feel like emotional regulation and emotional maturity is something that you compound, and especially nowadays in everyday life and how the world is set up. I feel like emotional maturity and regularity kind of gets pounded. It gets put to work, like how iron shapes iron, but in this case, the other iron doesn't get stronger. It gets weaker, and you have to kind of like keep reflecting, keep um, talking to yourself. Very important to talk to yourself, especially not in a negative way. You can find yourself talking in a negative rut, bro, until pretty recently. By recently, I mean like a year or two. I figured out that I've been talking to myself very negatively. I thought I was kind of like pushing myself, you know what I mean? But I was doing the opposite, and it took me a long, long, long fucking time to figure it out, get it right. And one of those ways that I did it is by seeing a specialist, seeing a psychiatrist, actually talking with other people. Like I said, if you have parents that you can talk to, that's great, use them. Friends, very close friends, just anybody that you can trust, because having feedback, having those talks, it does kind of like your brain reflects. You reflect on it. You reflect on it. Ugh, sorry. You reflect on it, and I feel like reflection is the most important part, very important part, because you can kind of like go through life on cruise mode, thinking everything's fine. Everything can be fine. Eh, Everything might be fine, but that kind of like not learning to be able to self-assess yourself and know and acknowledge that, okay, right now I'm in a sort of spot, psychologically or emotionally or physically or whatever, that you're in a spot where you kind of have to like say, okay, I need to stop, lean back a little bit, maybe take the back burner, maybe I need to take some like days off or give some shifts away. I need to do this. Like, set those steps up where you're able to be your most optimal self. Because I feel like the self sabotage that we always talk about, it's when we're at a point where we're so emotionally irregular that it bled into our reality to a point where it activated a fight or flight. And in most cases, it's flight. Even if it's fight, even when it's fight, it doesn't always end well. And yeah, life happens. It's not always happy, 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 happy. Life can go up, then down. But it's the strategies and the components and how much we know about ourselves that makes that bounce back very huge and very necessary sometimes. So yeah, hopefully that kind of made sense. Um, and yeah, see you guys next time.